Hey Abe, it's Wednesday, October 24th, 2015. So, this Saturday I found out that Adele had dropped a new single called Hello. And I immediately went to YouTube and I listened to it, and when she hit the chorus and just started belting out her soul, I realized three fundamental truths at the exact same time. Number one, Adele is as good as she's ever been. She's got a voice like red velvet cake batter. She kind of only writes two kinds of songs, Revenge on the Ex and Missing the Ex, but they're good songs, so you let it slide. Number two, I'm gonna listen to nothing but this song for the rest of my life. And when her album drops in November, it's gonna be even worse. It's gonna be an obsession. It's gonna be a real serious problem. I've been missing Adele a lot since she went off to, procreate, and I didn't even know it. Number three, I was gonna make my whole video this week about this new song because it was obviously the most important musical thing to happen to me. Number three was completely wrong. I've been seeing a lot of posts on Tumblr about some musical called Hamilton, and I figured I should go listen to the soundtrack. So Monday evening, I go to YouTube and I listen to the soundtrack. I was about 2 songs in when I went and texted my friend, "Man, you need to listen to this." By the end of the first act, I knew that this show was life-changing. I stayed up in the study lounge until 3 a.m. because I couldn't sleep until I got to the end of it. And here I am in this fully public place just crying. But whatever. At 3 in the morning, cry at the drop of a hat. And at 1, everything seems like it's life-changing. So I listened to it again the next day. It totally held up. It was still ridiculously good. So I started proselytizing. To my friends, I said, that show that's being hyped up so much on Tumblr? Well, it deserves the hype, which is actually kind of rare on Tumblr. Tumblr tends to be a hype machine. To you, Abe, I said that it was like the epic rap battles of history with a plot. To our mother, I said it's like 1776 meets The Wiz. All of those things are totally true, by the way. Quick summary, Hamilton is the story of founding father Alexander Hamilton, told primarily through rap and hip-hop, which sounds like it would be super duper corny, like after-school special kind of stuff. But it's a phenomenal musical. The first act will get you more pumped than anything else you have ever heard. And the second act is straight up devastating. Plus, only the actor who plays King George is white. Almost the whole cast is people of color. Most of them are black and Latino, and one of the main female characters is played by an Asian lady, which I just found out. I didn't know that because I can't see the actors because I'm only listening to it. And I have just a lot of thoughts about it, so I'm gonna end up making 2 videos tonight and posting Hamilton Part 2 next week. The first thing I noticed from telling people about it was the difference between the theater people in my life and the non-theater people. The people who weren't really into musicals, they asked me where they could watch it. And I get it. If you're used to consuming TV shows and movies, that's a totally reasonable question to ask. You cannot watch it. Everyone who grew up with musicals knew the right question to ask. Where can I find the soundtrack? And the answer is, it's super easy. It's on YouTube for free. It's on Spotify for free. And actually, it's now on my phone. Which brings me to my second point. My mother, I told her to go listen to it and she did. And then she went out and bought the soundtrack. She hadn't even finished listening to it when she bought it. That's not something I would ever have done. And I realized that there's this really big generation gap when it comes to acquiring music. I haven't paid for my own music since I was in middle school. I'm still buying CDs. If people give me iTunes gift cards, I will buy music. But if it's on YouTube for free, which basically everything is, why would you bother with it? And if you really, really need to own something and you don't have any money, you can just use one of those beautiful, dubiously legal YouTube to MP3 converters for free. But my mom grew up at a time when if you wanted to hear the end of the album, past whatever sample they gave you in the store or whatever, you had to buy it. And, she liked what she heard in the first few songs, just like me, and so she went and got it. And thinking about it logically, that makes total sense, and, actually the sort of thing that maybe I should do. But it would never, ever have occurred to me to do it like that. So, on that note, on my sort of social observations, we're gonna cut it off. The next video, I will talk to you about history and politics and, important things. And Abe, I will see you on Saturday.